The SEC, in a weird way, feels like it's kind of getting back to its roots, doesn't it? When you think SEC over the course of the last 20, 25, 30, 35 years, okay, and there's been pockets in which it's been an offensive juggernaut that has dominated the league. We saw that in the 90s with Steve Spurrier. Of course, I think when you look at those teams that the Gators had in the 90s, by the way, yeah, everyone wants to talk about Warfel and the amount of points they scored and Matthews and the receivers they had and the points they scored with Steve Spurrier and how much fun it was to watch offensively, but that's pretty good guys on defense too. You look at the 2000s, and it was a defensive driven league. It was a league that prided itself exclusively on line of scrimmage play and solid run games and quality personnel at wide receiver, but it was not a high flying, throw it all over the yard type of league. It was a ground and pound line of scrimmage league. And then in the 2010s, things started to evolve just a little bit, kind of starting in 2013 or so, 2012, 2013. Auburn with their tempo attack and scoring a lot of points with Nick Marshall and company. Alabama and Ole Miss having a lot of great offensive firepower as well. We saw in 2019 maybe one of the best offenses we've ever seen at the college level with LSU. We saw Georgia win multiple national championships with a great defense, but also an offense that I think was perennially underrated. That group on offense was dynamic and very, very good and could score with anyone in the country if the game required it. And while it's easy to kind of draw conclusions here based on just a 4-week sample size in which so many teams have played less than stellar offensive outfits. But if you look right now, there are 7 teams in the SEC that are currently ranked in the top 25 defensively. There are about 6, 7, or 8 teams in the SEC right now that are ranked in the top 25 in the points per game allowed basis. And like I said, you have to take into account the level of competition that some of these teams have played. I understand that. So I'm taking some of these rankings with a slight grain of salt. But I think that this year's SEC could very well be determined by who has the best defense. Which defense plays at the highest possible level. And we've seen already incredible defensive performances from LSU. We have seen already incredible defensive performances from Oklahoma. We've seen great defensive play so far from Texas. We've seen, at times, pretty good defensive play from Alabama, mostly against Wisconsin, but we'll see about Alabama here coming up. And there are obviously a couple anomalies in there. We're just a week removed from talking about Tennessee and Georgia, a game that was decided in the 40s. So yes, there is still offensive firepower in the league, but I just feel like the identity of the SEC is shifting just a little bit, getting back to being a down in, down out defensive grind. And I kind of like it. I got to be honest with you. I kind of like it. And if it continues in this direction, then it might be more advantageous to have a dominant defense than it is a high-flying offense. But we'll see here as the season continues to move forward.